I am going to introduce myself and the program in more detail a little bit later on in the evening. But to start us off, I think we will all enjoy a beautiful cultural program. And we have 3 wonderful dances by 3 different groups. And the first dance is to the song Jai Jagadishari. And the name of the group is Padma Shri Hemant Kumar Group. So please welcome with a loud round of applause our new dancers.
तिष्ठति पृष्ठे धरणिधरण किल चक्र गरिष्ठे केशवा धृत कच्छप रूपा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे वसति दशन शिखरे धरणी तव लग्ना शशिनि कलंक कलेव निमग्ना केशवा धृत सूकर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे 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 जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमले नखमद्भुत शृङ्गम् दलित हिरण्यकशिपुवरभृङ्गम् केशवा धृत नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे छलयसि विक्रमणे बलिम् अद्भुतवामना पदनखनीरजनित जनपावना केशव धृत वामनरूपा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षत्रिय रुधिरमये जगदपगत पापम् स्रपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापम् केशव धृत भृगुपतिरूप जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे वितरसि दिक्षुरणे दिक्पति कमनीयम् दशमुखमौळि बलिं रमणीयम् केशवा धृत रामशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे वहसि वपुषि विशदेवसनम् जलदाभम् हलयति भीतिमिलित यमुनाभम् केशवा धृत हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे निन्दति यज्ञविधेरगय श्रुतिजातम् सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातम् केशव धृत बुद्ध शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे म्लेच्छनिवघनिधने कलयसि करवालम् धूमकेतुमिव किमपि करालम् केशवा धृत कल्किशरीरा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्री जयदेव कवे मुदितमुदारम् शृणु शुभदम् सुखदम् भवसारम् केशवा धृत दशविधरूपा जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे 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 जय जगदीश हरे हरे जय जगदीश हरे
The Padma Shri Hemant Kumar group. Thank you very much. Beautiful dancing. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a solo dance, which is the bronze plate dance in the Kathak style. And our soloist tonight is Lekya Barani. So please welcome to the stage Lekya Barani.
भगति विजता धा ओंकारेश्वर त्रयंबकेश्वर जय शिव शंकर हरि विरज सुपति सुभुजितम धिज धिजंतरानता महामृत्युंजय मंत्र साधनम अरिष्ट हरणम लेखत अंक शुभाल शंभु कृपालम भीम शंकरम धज धज कतान मल्लिकार्जुन महाकाल जय बम बम भोले करितांडव नत डिमक डिमक डिम जमरो नाद लगत से गदिगन जिगड़ता पशुपति जय गिरिजापति जय देवनपति महादेव साजनपति मृदंग वाद्यम बाजत तरकधर धिकटगन तक कुंडमालधर शीश गंगधर भालचंद्रधर कर त्रिशूलधर जयति गौरी वैद्यनाथम धदृकट धिकट तरकटगन धा सोमनाथ केदारनाथ जय विश्वनाथ रामेश्वरम बेलपत्र अक्षत्र सोन फल धूप दीपम चंदनादिक पूरलेपन जय जगदान नागेश्वर जय कृष्णेश्वर हर हर भजत छत्रपति ओम नमः शिवाय नतमस्तक शिव चरणम जय शिव शंकर की कृतान कथा जय शिव शंकर की कृतान कथा जय शिव शंकर की कृतान कथा
దీన దీన తకిట తకిట ధాత్రగడ తెత్తిట కత గతి కిన్న తా తుమ్ నా 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 కత్తున గహినని కిట తక ధాత్రగడ తెత్తిట కత గతి కిన్న తా ధాత్రగడ తెత్తిట కత గతి కిన్న తా ధాత్రగడ తెత్తిట కత గతి కిన్న నా తిన్న తిన్న
Thank you, Lekhya Barani. I wish I could do this as well. Thank you. So that was a beautiful dance. Such fantastic talent. So now we have the Sri Vedantam Radhesham group who will do a beautiful dance for you finally. Thank you. Shivadantam Radhe Sham and his group. Fantastic, huh? Well done. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce myself a little bit more formally. My name is Anthony Phillips, and I come from Oxford in England, and it is my great pleasure and huge privilege to be with you tonight and to be part of the Future of Power team. Now, our purpose tonight is to inform you, is to show you, is to give you a feeling of what the Future of Power program is all about. It's a program that is an initiative of the Brahma Kumaris, so they are our partners, and it is a program that brings together all the leaders of India. Tonight and yesterday, we are in your great, fantastic, amazing city of Vijayawada, full of life, full of business, full of good thinking, full of good people. And we have had great fortune to meet some of your leaders over the last 24 hours. Yesterday, it was my distinct privilege to be the facilitator for a program which brought together 56 of your leaders. And what we hope to do tonight is give you a taste of what it is that we achieved and discussed, the insights that we got yesterday. And also tonight you will meet some of the key personalities behind the Future of Power program. You'll meet the instigator of the program, you'll meet the head of the Brahma Kumaris here, who has allowed us to come and has worked so closely with us, and you will meet one of our main coordinators, in fact our main coordinator, who has put 4 years of her life into this program here in India. So now on this 29th city that we have visited in Bharat since 2009, I would like to ask onto the stage Savita Didi, who is the sub-zone in charge of the Warangal zone, your zone here in this part of India, and she will make the formal welcome. So please give a big round of applause to Savita Didi.
Om Shanti. Brahma Kumaris Vijayawada వైపు నుండి ఏర్పాటు చేసినటువంటి ఫ్యూచర్ ఆఫ్ పవర్ కార్యక్రమంలో మహానుభావులందరికీ నా యొక్క శుభాభివందనములు, సుస్వాగతం సుస్వాగతం. ముఖ్యంగా నగర పుర ప్రముఖులకి మరియు ప్రెస్ సహోదరులందరికీ నా యొక్క హృదయపూర్వకంగా శుభాభివందనములు, స్వాగతం సుస్వాగతం. ఈరోజు 26 జనవరి రిపబ్లిక్ డే సందర్భంగా మీ అందరికీ శుభాకాంక్షలు శుభాకాంక్షలు. ఈ యొక్క కార్యక్రమము ప్రజాపిత బ్రహ్మకుమారి ఈశ్వరీయ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం వైపు నుండి ఏర్పాటు చేయటం జరిగింది. దీన్ని 1937లో స్థాపించటం జరిగింది. ఈ యొక్క విశ్వవిద్యాలయం యొక్క వర్తమాన సమయంలో ముఖ్యాలయము మౌంట్ ఆబూ రాజస్థాన్లో ఉంది. ఈ ప్రజాపిత బ్రహ్మకుమారి ఈశ్వరీయ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం అంతర్గతంగా రాజయోగ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అండ్ రీసెర్చ్ ఫౌండేషన్ అంతర్గతంగా 19 వింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయన్నమాట. అందులో ఎడ్యుకేషన్ వింగ్, అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటర్స్ వింగ్, ఉమెన్స్ వింగ్, యూత్ వింగ్, మీడియా, తర్వాత మెడికల్ వింగ్, సైంటిస్ట్ అండ్ ఇంజనీర్స్ వింగ్, బిజినెస్ అండ్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ వింగ్, ఇలా అన్ని క్షేత్రాలలో ఉన్న వారికి ఈరోజు లోపిస్తున్నటువంటి విలువలని పెంపొందించేటువంటి కార్యక్రమాలు ఏర్పాటు చేయటం జరుగుతాయి. దానికోసం రకరకాల మేనేజ్మెంట్ కోర్సెస్ కూడా ఏర్పాటు చేయటం జరుగుతుంది. ప్రపంచంలో వర్తమాన సమయంలో పెరుగుతున్నటువంటి సమస్యలకు సమాధానం, ఏకైక సమాధానం ఈ విశ్వవిద్యాలయంలో మెడిటేషన్ తెలియచేయటం జరుగుతుంది. ఆ మెడిటేషన్ ద్వారా మనం ఎన్నో లాభాలను పొందుతాము. తెయ్యక కార్యక్రమం విశేషంగా ఈరోజు ఫ్యూచర్ ఆఫ్ పవర్ యొక్క కార్యక్రమం ఏర్పాటు చేయటం జరిగింది. దీని యొక్క లాభం పొందడానికి మీరందరూ వచ్చారు. ఇంకా దీని తర్వాత కూడా మీరు కంటిన్యూ చేసి మీరు స్వయం యొక్క ఉన్నతి కోసము కృషి చేసుకుంటారు. అంటే మీరు బాహ్యంగా ఎంతో ఉన్నతి చేసుకుంటుండొచ్చు, బిజినెస్ ఫీల్డ్లో లేకపోతే బాహ్య ప్రపంచంలో మీ హోదాను పెంచుకుంటుండొచ్చు, ఆస్తిని పెంచుకోవచ్చు. కానీ మీరు ఆత్మ ఉన్నతి కూడా చేసుకోవాలి, ఆంతరికంగా కూడా మీరు శక్తివంతంగా తయారు కావాలని ఈ యొక్క విశ్వవిద్యాలయం మీ అందరికీ కూడా ప్రేరింపచేస్తుంది. ఎందుకంటే ఎన్నో సమస్యల్ని ఎదుర్కోవడానికి మనకి ఆంతరికమైన శక్తి, మనోబలము అవసరం. ఆ మనోబలం పెంచుకోవడానికి ఈ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం మీకు సహకరిస్తుంది. మీరు తప్పకుండా ఈ సదావకాశాన్ని వినియోగించుకొని లాభాన్ని పొందుతారు, మీరు మీ కుటుంబ సభ్యులందరని ఆశిస్తూ సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను. ఓం శాంతి.
I'd like to introduce her to you. This is Sister Maureen. She is the main coordinator for all the activities of the Future of Power here in India. She is a Brahma Kumari and has been a surrendered sister with the Brahma Kumaris for, it says on my sheet, 36 years, but I think it's nearly 40 years. Now, she does not look old enough to be with the Brahma Kumaris for 40 years. She is a very dynamic person and has a huge amount of experience all over Asia. She started her spiritual life all the way over in Australia. She is Australian by birth, and she finds herself now here in India doing this most important work. So I'd like to introduce now to you to the stage my boss, Sister Maureen.
So my role this evening is to talk about the connection between the Brahma Kumaris and the Future of Power, which have come into this partnership. Because very often people wonder what we have got to do with power, because nowadays power is generally seen as something quite negative. People think of all kinds of force and manipulation and things like this. And so the Future of Power specifically is addressing the whole meaning behind power. Because I'm sure you will agree with me, there are other kinds of power. And what we are talking about in this project, the Future of Power, is bringing back the power that comes from within. So obviously there's a very deep connection between the Brahma Kumaris and the future of power. In fact, India has this essence of spirituality, and this is why myself, my friends, and people in 137 countries all over the world are practicing Raj Yoga meditation. As Sister mentioned, we have a part of our organization is called the Raj Yoga Education and Research Foundation. And so what we are doing is exploring and researching this very ancient teaching of Raj Yoga, which is the connection between the Atma and Param Atma. And this is the way that we can empower ourselves. And what we are researching is actually how to do that. What would help our meditation, what would best enhance this experience, and actually practicing meditation from the very early hours of the morning and really getting this experience of a higher power, because our own power is already quite limited, the power of the soul, and especially now, because the world is very challenging, and it seems that most of us feel that we aren't able to do the things we really want to do. And so this research, practice, study is all about bringing back that inner power that was once mine. It was once yours. And so this is the partnership between the Brahma Kumaris and the Future of Power. Sister Savita also mentioned that we have all these wings, and so we're inviting people from all the different wings because they're all developing values-based programs which are now being spread all over the world, whether it's values in healthcare, values in media, values in education. So all of these programs that have been quite organically developing through people who, like you, I'm sure, have your profession and are benefiting from meditation, and then are thinking how to bring this spirituality, this meditation, to people in their own profession, to make it very practical, to make it very helpful for people in their lives. So I've just been here a few days and very much enjoyed the lightness of Vijayawada. That's my experience. It's been a very an atmosphere of lightness, and our sisters, of course, have carried us along so beautifully. So very nice to be with all of you this evening. Om Shanti.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to all participate in the candle lighting ceremony. So as the candles come out onto the stage, I'm going to call out the names of those we would like to join us on the stage to participate in this ceremony. So Dr. Venkateshwar Rao, please, onto the stage. Mr. Nizar Juma. Dr. Ganga Raju, please. Ms. Krishna Kumari. Mr. Velampali Srinivas. Mr. Mundal Dev. Mr. Kesineri Srinivas. Ms. Sujata Kalyan, Mr. Maladi Vishnu, Mrs. Jogudlamba, Dr. Joanna Kito, BK Padmaja, BK Savita, BK Shanta, Maureen, Sister Margaret, me, T. Chandra Shekhar, Mr. Chandra Shekhar, please, Mr. Madala Anthony, and Mr. Karnati Lakshmi Narasaya. And so now I would like you to come all onto the stage and please step forward to participate in the Future of Power candle lighting ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, the Future of Power.
ज्योत जगाओ, ज्योत जगाओ, विश्व शांति की ज्योत जगाओ, ज्योत जगाओ, ज्योत जगाओ, विश्व शांति की ज्योत जगाओ, इस धरती के अशांति का अंधकार ज्योति जगाओ, ज्योति जगाओ, ज्योति जगाओ, विश्व शांति की ज्योति जगाओ।
Ladies and gentlemen, is a very real reason that we are doing this Future of Power program. And in the next few minutes, you're going to be hearing all about the context, all about the importance of this program. But now I'd like to invite you all to sit back, relax, and enjoy a short video which I assure you will be entirely self-explanatory, and it is by someone who you know well.
There are two Indias in this country. One India is training at the leash, eager to spring forth and live up to all the adjectives that the world has been recently showering upon us. The other India is the leash. One India says, give me a chance and I'll prove myself. The other India says, prove yourself first and maybe then you'll have a chance. One India lives in the optimism of our hearts. The other India lurks in the skepticism of our minds. One India wants. The other India hopes. One India leads. The other India follows. These conversions are on the rise. With each passing day, more and more people from the other India are coming over to this side. And quietly, while the world is not looking, a pulsating, dynamic new India is emerging. An India whose faith in success is far greater than its fear of failure. An India that no longer boycotts foreign-made goods, but buys out the companies that make them instead. History, they say, is a bad motorist. It rarely ever signals its intentions when it's taking a turn. This is that rarely ever moment. History is turning a page. For over half a century, our nation has sprung, stumbled, run, fallen, rolled over, got up and dusted herself, and cantered, sometimes lurched on. But now, in our 60th year as free nation, the ride has brought us to the edge of time's great precipice. And one India, a tiny little voice in the back of the head, is looking down at the bottom of the ravine and hesitating. The other India is looking up at the sky and saying, it's time to fly.
My participation in this program of the Future of Power, ladies and gentlemen, is quite selfish. It is clear to me and to the team that the destiny of your India is set. You are, whether you like it or not, destined to lead the world, destined to lead me. And so the question is, what will be the quality of India's leadership of the world? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're here to think about. And now, this, for me, is the very best part of the program, because this is the part of the program where I get to introduce my boss's boss. I get to introduce the person who was the instigator of the Future of Power program. This is a man who has been associated, has been a student with the Brahma Kumaris for over 20 years. He's actually a Muslim. He has a senior position with the Aga Khan Development Foundation, and as such, he is the chairman of more than 52 publicly traded companies around the world. He is a big businessman. He is a very busy man. He's a deeply spiritual man, but also a very practical man. He is hugely generous. I would say that he has a golden heart, because he has combined his spiritual understanding and his understanding of the rough, tough world that we live in, and he has seen the future. He has seen a vision, and he really wants to do his bit to help his India. Because although he himself was born in Kenya and lives in Nairobi, he comes from Indian blood. He loves India, and he has grown to love it more and more. And he has really dedicated these last 4 years to your country. And so it is my huge pleasure, it's my privilege to introduce to you now Mr. Nizar Juma, who will now explain in further detail the future of power. Nizar Juma.
Thank you. You know, before I start, I want to introduce properly Anthony Phillips. Anthony is the one who welcomes everybody, thanks everybody, introduces everybody. And I have the pleasure of introducing him. Anthony comes all the way from Oxford, especially for this program. What we did yesterday and what we are doing today, he has come all the way at his own expense. And you might have heard that what he does is he is a strategic advisor to large corporations like Nestle. That's what he does. So you can imagine that he's also very expensive. And so I'm very happy to report that he is doing this completely voluntarily. So we are very happy that he is here with us. Our chief guest, Vice Chancellor Dr. Rao, many eminent guests who are here, including heads of Brahma Kumaris, and honored guests and ladies and gentlemen. My life for the last 4 years is about this, the future of power. And the speakers before me briefly touched on what we are doing, why we are doing what we are doing. Power is something which everybody wants. Is that not right? Is there anybody in this room who doesn't want power? Everybody wants power. And the other thing is, if you have power, you want more power. The more power you have, the more power you want. But power has now got different connotations. And mostly, the connotations of power are negative, because we are used to that now. Some of you may or may not know that there is also world power which some countries have. They control the power of the world. And you might be surprised to know that until 2,500 years ago, world power was here in Bharat. Did you know that? Now, before you start clapping, let me tell you what happened. When world power was here, it was soft power, what we call soft power. Because we were ruled by benevolent kings who cared for their people. And so they ruled with love, with caring. They didn't rule because they had an election and they had television cameras and there were bribery and corruption and all of this kind of things going on. They ruled because they cared for their people, and we call that soft power. Power then from Bharat traveled to many other countries who then controlled world power. Not necessarily in the order in which I'm saying, But power then went from here to China, it went to Egypt, it went to Rome, it went to Greece, it went to Great Britain, to Spain, to many other countries. And finally, this power went to United States of America, where it is today. Now, in 2007, there was a world recession. Towards the end of 2007, there was a world recession. Most of you here will know. And that world recession affected most of Europe and most of the countries in North and South America. The end result of that is that they cannot any longer come out of this recession. They are talking a lot, but it's not coming out. Many of the countries in Europe are now close to bankruptcy. And even America's debt compared to their GDP is now 210% or over. So, I am not telling you this story because I want to gloat about it. It does not make that much difference to us. But what is relevant for us is that world power is once again traveling back to the east. And specifically, it is coming back to here in Bharat. Bharat, in a very short space of time, will become the world power. Now, we have a choice. When world power comes here, do we also adopt hard power, or do we bring back soft power? That is the question that we need to ask. Each one of us needs to ask ourselves, because today people are thinking, if you bring soft power, then it means you have become soft, you have no power, real power, that you are becoming weak, everybody else will take over from you. A lot of people are thinking like that. But it's not true. What is meant by soft power is that the world today is becoming more and more difficult and complicated. Each one of us knows that the demands on us individually are becoming greater and greater every day. We need to do more this year, double of what we did last year, to stay in the same place. Because the world is getting more difficult. It's more and more complicated. So how do we face all of this? And the question is whether we can bring spirituality into our lives. I say this because 20 years ago, I learned how to make spirituality part of my life. That does not mean that I became religious. The two are different. One is spirituality and one is religion. I'm not talking about religion. Religion is different. There's nothing wrong with religion. All of us follow all the religions that we have been brought up with. Spirituality means, however, that people like Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or Mother Teresa, they brought spirituality into their lives, and even today we remember them because of that, because they become selfless. But they were not powerless. They still had power. They had internal power, but also they were powerful to control a lot of power from within and without. Question therefore is that we need to make spirituality part of our daily lives, which is not complicated. It's not a ritual. It's not something that you have to do in a certain ritualistic way. It is something that we decide to adopt. Today, people say that I do my prarthana, my religious duties, early in the morning. Or some say, listen, I have a day in which I do my religious duties. If I'm a Christian, that day is a Sunday. If I'm Muslim, it's Friday. Jewish, Saturday. Shiva, Monday, and so on. So we have reserved ourselves that day, and then we say, rest of the time, just let me get on and do my business. Don't interrupt. Isn't it? That's what we say. We say that. However, spirituality does not mean that. Spirituality means, if I decide today not to get angry, I decide not to give sorrow to anyone, I decide to control my ego, these things are spiritual things which I am deciding upon and making it part of my everyday life. Is that difficult? Any one of us can decide that and say today, from tomorrow, I'm going to start. Why tomorrow? Tonight, I'm going to start doing this. So I become a spiritually active person. 22 years ago, I was a very angry man. My ego was certainly much bigger than the whole of Vijayawada. I promise you that. I was full of stress, and I gave stress to everybody around me. And I took pride in that. I thought, if I make people afraid and give them stress, that's my power. But it was all wrong. When you are angry, the only person that burns is you. Nobody else cares. They will look at you and say, here is that dog is barking again. They switch off. I also had lots of other things that I was doing, including alcohol and smoking and everything else that you can imagine I did. I adopted spiritual life. And today, Anthony told you in my introduction that I had 54 companies. And I still have time to come and speak to you, not only you, but so many cities all over India. Because this is what is important to me. Because spirituality has helped me to lead a much better life. That does not mean that I have to give up everything I was doing and do the spirituality. I do everything that everybody else does, and more probably. But I adopt a spiritual life which helps me personally. It helps everybody in my family and all the people that are under my influence. When I started this spiritual life, all my family members and particularly my children came and told me, we don't know what you are doing, but whatever it is, please don't stop. Because they were benefiting from what I'm doing. So future of power is about that. The real power which you will adopt from today or tomorrow is to become powerful from within. When you are more powerful from within, you can face anything which the world throws at you. Whatever it is. Whether it's your family, your job, your boss, your business, whatever they throw at you, you will be powerful enough to be able to face anything that comes. Would you not like that? To be really powerful from within? That is what we all want. And that is what the future of power is about. We need to drop a vice and pick up a virtue. That's something complicated? We can drop a vice and pick up a virtue every day. That's what we need to do. Don't say, that's not a bad idea, I'll think about it. Because as soon as you say that, that means that sometimes in the future you'll drop it and forget about it. Okay? You need to decide it today, not Monday, not the first of the month. You need to do it today. Think about something that you need to do. Stop anger. Stop giving sorrow to people. Stop doing something which you know is causing damage to you and to your family. Adopt this. When you adopt it, your family, your people around you, slowly the whole country will start adopting. You think that we will stop corruption through making more and more laws against it? We will not. We will stop corruption and we will stop all of those things when we decide here, each one of us, that from tomorrow I'm not going to do this. This is where the country will become a soft power holder of world power, which it is coming, whether you like it or not. With or without your permission, it's coming. And you need to decide what kind of world, what kind of country you want to create when you become world power. If that makes sense to you, then I will have done my job. And I thank you for listening to me. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to be inviting some of the participants that were with us yesterday at the Gateway Hotel. We had a fantastic morning together. And hopefully, I'm going to interview them, and hopefully through this interview that you will get a little bit of an insight as to what it was that we discussed and the thoughts that came out of it. So, I'd like to invite to the stage Dr. Joanna Kito, please, Dr. Anthony Madala, and Ms. M. Krishna Kumari. So, welcome to the stage, and thank you so much for coming. And today, what we want to do is to give our audience a bit of an insight into what exactly we did yesterday and what you personally got from the process. Yeah? So I'm going to introduce each of you a little bit more as when I first start speaking to you. So Ms. Krishna Kumari, you are the station director for All India Radio here, so an important person. You know about communications, and you've done lots of things with children's magazines. You know about kids, you know about communicating with kids, and you know how important it is to do the right thing with children when they're children, otherwise they'll grow up to be nasty human beings. Yeah? So you're a leader in the realm of communications, and you're a leader in this region, and so we were very, very happy to have you yesterday. And I'd like to just start by giving you the chance to share your insights and thoughts, just generally, about your experience yesterday.
Why everybody is not happy? Why we are not happy even after we have acquired power, money-wise, status-wise, and socially? That was the main question behind the points that they asked us to discuss with in the small groups that gathered in the venue arranged by the Future of Power discussion. They have made representatives from business groups, medical profession, and entrepreneurs, and I think I am the only media person who took part in that discussion. What are the incidents that make us to strive to come up in life, to be more successful, to be more financially better off? These are the incidents they have taken record of through the discussions. And they have focused on the other side, which is more important, that is on the thing that made us or inspired us to do something, to be powerful. To be powerful financially or in profession. Another important aspect that they pose to us, to introspect ourselves. What is the legacy that we are going to leave to our future generations? We had a very interesting experience shared by participants like Dr. Singari Prabhakar, who has informed that though he was born with a physical deformity, with his ambition to come up, he took part in a race and he became normal and he won a prize. With that concentration to achieve something, people can be made. And another experience somebody shared was, even if we are focusing on our entrepreneurship of successful business, we can be spiritual. That was very interesting, and now also we have shared that experience of
With Mr. Juma.
I don't get your pronunciation, Nizar Zuma. I was very much inspired by his experience. And the whole discussion ran around the things that we have to follow for the future of power. What is power and future of power? He has, Mr. Nizar Zuma has explained the power to you all now also.
Well, thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Yes, I think one of the most important points you were talking about was this very interesting story where something so small changed the life of somebody. That having a foot deformity, going into a race, winning the race, realizing that this person could overcome. This changed everything, and he's now become the most amazing doctor and doing fantastic surgeries, etc., etc., all because of a foot race in school. It's amazing. So thank you very much, sister. I'm going to come back to you in a minute, but let me go now to the far side to Ms. Krishna Kumari, I'm sorry, no, Ms. Dodla Sujata Kalyan. And now we met yesterday, and I know you're going to be speaking in Telugu, which is fantastic. And you are very, very involved in the legal profession, and you specialize in helping people who are underprivileged, who are poor, and who otherwise would get no legal help at all. And so now I would like to give you, just in a few brief minutes, the opportunity to just share your experience of yesterday and what main insights that you got out of yesterday's experience. So if you'd like to take up the microphone there, yeah?
అందరికీ నమస్కారం. నా పేరు సుజాత. నేను బెజవాడ బార్ అసోసియేషన్లో అడ్వకేట్గా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తున్నాను. నిన్న గేట్వే హోటల్లో ది స్పిరిట్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్యూచర్ పవర్ ఈ అంశం మీద బ్రహ్మకుమారి సమాజం వారు నన్ను పిలవటం జరిగింది. నేను 1989లో అబు మౌంట్ వెళ్ళి అక్కడ బ్రహ్మకుమారి సమాజాన్ని చూశాను. నేను అప్పుడు 10th క్లాస్ చదువుతున్నాను. అప్పుడే ఇన్స్పైర్ అయ్యాను. ఇది నా జీవితంలో నేను మరచిపోలేనటువంటి ఆహ్వానం, ఆత్మీయత. ఒక అడ్వకేట్గా నేను జైల్లో మగ్గుతున్నటువంటి ఖైదీలకి వితౌట్ ఫీ నేను వాళ్ళకి కేసు నుంచి బయటపడేయటం, వాళ్ళకి నేను సర్వీస్ చేశాను. జోనైల్స్ ఉంటారు, అండర్ 18 పిల్లలు, వాళ్ళందరికీ కూడా నేను సర్వీస్ చేస్తున్నాను. సర్వీస్ అనేది నాకు చాలా ఇష్టమైన విషయం. ఈ సమాజం ద్వారా నా వంతు నేను సర్వీస్ చేయాలనే ఆలోచనతో ఇక్కడికి రావటం జరిగింది. దిస్ ఈస్ ద బెస్ట్ ఆపర్చునిటీ టు బ్రహ్మకుమారి సమాజం. దిస్ ఈస్ ద I never forget this opportunity from the Brahmakumaris. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, sister. Thank you very much. And now let me come to Dr. Anthony Madala. Now, you are a teacher and an awarded teacher, And you have also been very, very associated, closely associated with the Catholic Church, involved as a delegate to the IMF and UNESCO and Pax Romana. And so you really have a very much a global perspective. And so from that perspective, I'd like to give you the opportunity to just share your experiences briefly of yesterday.
I'm most grateful to Brahma Kumaris, the organization. Actually, they have selected me to participate in yesterday's deliberations too. So, yesterday, in our discussions, so many things came out of it. First of all, our friends said, by their hard work, they came up in life. That is true. And some of our friends said, India happened to be a spiritual country. From here, so many things are just moving abroad. But it is the duty of Indians to give self-respect and also role model in many activities, they said. And also, some of our gentlemen, they said, sir, we are moving in the society, in the macroplasmic society. As a man, he has to do many things, but we failed in certain extents. There, they asked us to write one letter to your son, and also finally, also speak about the legacy, what you are going to be. Our friends mentioned, a parent, they are really worried about their helping hand to their son in the field of education. They failed to some extent. Somebody said they didn't care for his son's improvement so far as studies are concerned. That is the reason why they are unable to come up in life. So negligence brought him down. So his legacy said finally, my dear son, please try to lead the simple life. Simple living is high thinking. Also, try to obey your elders with great faithfulness. Obedience is the main feature of Indian people. So if you obey, definitely you will come up. And also show self-respect. Whenever you speak to somebody, whenever you meet somebody, please try to express about you, and also in a submissive way, you can express your views. And also another one, they said, better to honor the elderly people, better to follow the great principles of noble people, then only you come up. This is the legacy, what they said. And finally, there is wonderful discussion came about the corruption. Corruption is prevailing everywhere in India, somebody said. But one of our facilitators nicely said, it is prevailing all parts of the world. In Telugu, one word, naranarallo jeernichipotundi ee duscharya. It is imbibed in every man's blood. But today, as a future leader, the topic has given excellent the future of power. And expressed that, it is a challenge for you to take up this issue. and you be sincere, be honest, and also try to lead harmonious life. This is the excellent input what our friends have suggested. And also spirituality and moral. It's a great discussion yesterday. Really we went on very, very well.
So,
As this is our activity.
that's great. That's very kind of you to just give that synopsis like that. But I'm just going to now go to our sister here, Dr. Joanna Quito. You've come all the way from the British Isles, the Isle of Man, where you are a lecturer, teacher in psychology. And I know that you know India quite well. You've been associated with the Brahma Kumaris for a while. And so I'd like you to now give just your brief experiences and insights from yesterday.
It's so exciting for me to be here in Vijayawada because I have been traveling to India for just about every year for the past 25 years. But I've only ever been to Mount Abu and Delhi and Mumbai. And this year I finally, because I've semi-retired from teaching, just doing part-time, I've had an opportunity to come to somewhere different. And of course when you travel, mostly people go to look at the place. You know, they look at the buildings. But what I really love doing is to meet the people. And to be able to participate yesterday, all morning, in such deep discussions with your leaders in this wonderful city was a great opportunity for me. I learned a lot from all the people that I talked to, and I could see that compared to Western leaders, many Western leaders, that this understanding of soft power is there, but it just needs to be brought out. And what I experienced was just by talking about the things that empower us, the situations that have empowered us, the qualities that we have, and what it is that we really want to pass on to the people of the next generation, that this gave everyone a chance to bring those qualities out. And so just being able to do that is empowering, I think. And so when people left after the morning, I felt in myself a great strength to put these things into practice. But I could also see how it had affected everybody else in the room too, because we do need to be with like-minded people to have that strength to put things into practice.
Great.
So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And so this gives you a little bit of a flavor of what it was like. But now I'd just like to ask, each of our participants here has a specialty, has a special area that they have come from. And really yesterday and today you have heard about the future of power and how really the future of power is soft power. And soft power is based in spirituality. And the great challenge is that we have to bring spirituality into practicality. It's very, very easy to talk and talk and talk about how to be good and how to be spiritual. It is not so easy to actually bring it in practical life. And so now I'd like to turn to each of my guests here to just ask your opinion, your message of your thoughts about how to bring spirituality into your area of interest. Now, Sister Krishna Kumari, you are a communicator, you're the station director of All India Radio, And you clearly have a great interest in children. So now, your chance on the stage in this great city. What is your message to bring practical spirituality, to bring practical soft power and strong ethics and values into the life of every child?
What I understood yesterday from the discussions and the opinions, and personally from my reading, spirituality is not related to rituals. We can bring about spirituality in our lives by being helpful to others, empathizing with others' problems, listening to them, trying to be a person who would like to help them within our limitations, and to be a part of the facilitator to help others to be peaceful, to remain peaceful, to solve our problems. We must cultivate the interest of listening to others and understanding others' difficulties in children from the early age. Then only we can make them powerful leaders, and we will have the future of power, a peaceful leadership and not violent leadership.
So, listening, understanding,
empathizing,
and empathizing and connecting to that place of peace in each of us. So if we can make sure that our children know the source of peace within them, this would be very helpful. Thank you very much, sister. Thank you.
Thanks
and
for
so,
giving me a chance.
Now, Ms. Dodla Sujatpa Kalyan. Sorry, my English is not very good. Yeah. Sujata. Can I call you Sujata? Now, you are a legal person. And I know, because I read the global newspapers, that the legal profession is very strong in India. There are many, many lawyers, and there is a great deal of activity in your courts. It is a very strong legal system here in India. I would like to ask you now, from your experiences of yesterday, and especially in relationship to this idea that the future of power is soft power, and soft power is spiritual power. How can we, what are your ideas on how we can introduce soft power, spiritual power, into your profession, the legal profession?
లీగల్ ప్రొఫెషన్ చాలా టెన్షన్తో ఉంటుందండి. దీనిలో స్పిరిచువాలిటీ అనేది కంపల్సరీగా అవసరం. ప్రతి క్షణం టెన్షన్. కోర్టులో కేసు వేస్తాం, జడ్జి గారు బెయిల్ ఇస్తారో లేదో, బెయిల్ వేస్తాం, జడ్జి గారు బెయిల్ ఇస్తారో లేదో అనేది ఒక టెన్షన్. ఈ టెన్షన్స్ అన్నీ తట్టుకోవాలంటే కంపల్సరీగా మనకి ఒక మెడిటేషన్ లాంటిది అవసరం. ప్రతి మనిషి లైఫ్లో ఆధ్యాత్మికత అనేది ఒక పార్ట్గా మనం చేసుకుంటే దీనివల్ల ఆరోగ్యం అనేది బాగుంటుంది. అంటే నాకు ఇంకా ఎక్కువగా ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ చేయటానికి చేయలేకపోతున్నాను నేను.
But you have done so well, because you have put an idea here. You have said that we must change tension into attention. Huh? She did, eh? And she said, she gave us the method. And the method is meditation. So I thank you, sister, for your great words of wisdom. You're right, the legal profession is full of tension. And it needs to pay attention to the self and to the task. And the method is meditation.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much, sister.
Thank you.
And so now, Dr. Anthony Madala, now you and I had a good chat yesterday, and I was quite interested to hear about your work around the world and with these great world organizations. But I noted that you are a Catholic person, and we had a good conversation about religion and spirituality and the difference between the two, and how important it is that we understand that there is a deeper place, that all human beings have access to you. And I would like to give you the opportunity to just give a few of your thoughts on this idea of the difference between spirituality and religion, and how important it is for us to really center ourselves in our spirituality.
Thank you, sir. Here, according to my knowledge, spirituality is the divine power, rather supernatural power, where we can have the chance to be with oneness in a silent way of prayer. But through this, we can get many inspirations. These inspirations are helpful for us to work in the society. How we work in the society, that is there. As a man, we have been committing so many mistakes. But here, the power of detachment, when detach the past very bad elements, past experiences which are not useful to us. So, another power also is there, the power of tolerance. In India, it consists of many religions, also many way of lives. But tolerance is needed for us. Whoever follows their faith in their own way, who have to tolerate, we feel that everybody is good, so that we can have the chance of meeting all the people to channelize your power of tolerance. And also another one is, yesterday excellently spoke about the peace. See, one should develop the peace. For that you must be an instrument of peace to change this modern world. As I told you, in modern world, you have to face many challenges. It is we get the opportunity to change the modern world by peace way of life. That's why many people say, our silence, according to Indians, is a prayerful life. That comes faith, that comes love, that comes sacrifice. Through our sacrifice, you are doing many things in the society that leads to extremely peace. So peace and tranquility can play the wonderful role in this modern world. That is the way how we have to act, and the future of power, purely basing on this. That's why Brahma Kumaris, Matas, they started this with a great faith. That is the seat of learning of spiritual one that leads to the peace. With peaceful way, we can conquer anything in this world.
So thank you very much. Those are great words, and they're very connected to what our sister here was saying about how each child must understand their source of peace. And so you were talking about how to bring that understanding into practicality through all these powers of tolerance, of accuracy, of thoroughness, love, sacrifice, etc. So thank you very much. And now finally, Dr. Quito, all the way from the British Isles you have come, and you are a psychologist, you teach psychology, and so you very much know the difference between having a very beautiful description of something and actually bringing it into action. And so from a psychologist's point of view, from your basis of your understanding in the work that you have done in the area of spirituality, just if you'd like to share a few words on how, or what your advice is to bring spirituality into reality, into the reality of our practical life.
Yeah, I found in my study of psychology, because I studied psychology for many years, but it never really gave me the key to understanding myself. Psychology has many different areas, and each area is quite separate from another area. And there's a very little holistic understanding of a human being, and also how to manage my inner world. And this is really what I've learned through my study of spirituality, how important it is to know myself, to understand myself, to understand my reasons for doing things. Because only then can I really get in touch with my deepest values. And I feel that that's what's really important. When I wrote my letter to the next generation yesterday, one of the things I wanted to say was believe in yourself. But you can't really believe in yourself just like that. You have to have a basis on which to develop that self-belief. And I feel that understanding what is important to me, what my real qualities are, that's what gives me the strength to be able to believe in myself, and also to be able to support others and give that strength to others too.
Well, thank you very much indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to our participants. Please give them a big round of applause. And I'd like you to now just please take your seats. So thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you. And now also, yesterday, Sister Joanna here from the Isle of Man was not our only foreigner who was visiting us, but we were very lucky and fortunate to have somebody from Iceland to visit us yesterday. So I'd like to invite Sister Margaret up on stage just to say hello to everybody and give her message from her home country and herself. But she's not only from Iceland, she has actually found a way to spend many months every year here in what has become her beloved India. So, Sister Margaret.
Om Shanti. My name is Margaret and I come from Iceland. I have been coming to India since 1994, or for the past 20 years. And from the moment I came here for the first time, I felt a very strong love and affection for the Indian people. I think it was the colorful, beautiful clothes everyone was wearing, beautiful smiles, beautiful babies, and the warmth I felt from everyone's heart. I've also always been interested in spirituality, and maybe it was the spiritual side or spiritual strength I could feel. I don't know really, but I came on business and I was doing business here for a few years, and later I have been coming for pleasure, and now this time I am here staying with Brahma Kumaris. And something it's a wonder being with them. 10 days ago I had never heard of power of youth. What is it? future of power. I had never heard of it, and Vijayawada I didn't know anything about. And now I'm here standing in front of you all, beautiful people, and talking to you. So it's a miracle for me. Miracles are happening every day, and
Great.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to your city, and the sisters of the center, Brahma Kumari Center here. They have been wonderful. The brothers have been driving us around, and the team of Future of Power, you have been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
Om
you.
Shanti.
Thanks very much. Thanks. Thank you very much, Sister Margaret. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce you now to our chief guest, who is Dr. I. Venkateshwara Rao. I'm from Oxford. What can I say? I need a good few more years here in India before I can really pronounce your names. But with great respect, sir, I would like to invite you up onto the stage to share your good thoughts on this subject of the future of power.
Esteemed Mr. Anthony and Sri Nizar Zuma, brothers and sisters of Brahma Kumari organization, and very respected invitees, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure for me to be here, and I feel it is a privilege to be associated with this Future of Power meeting that is being held today, along with the Brahma Kumaris, for the major organizers for this evening function. Well, Brahma Kumaris is a very spiritual organization committed to self-transformation through meditation and positive thinking. Various establishments and institutions across the world have recognized the selfless service of Brahma Kumaris, which has been working for world peace and upliftment of humanity. Every human being aspires for peace and happiness, which can be achieved not by the worldly pleasures, but by meditation and bliss, which is well propagated by Brahma Kumaris. The Future of Power dialogue initiated by Brahma Kumaris aims to bring together a neutral platform to find ways to develop individual and collective leadership and strategies for developing responsible leadership, and also a knowledge base of ideas, best practices and experiences and insights into the principles of leadership, which you have just heard, with various views being expressed by the panelists sitting on the dais. Now, power, as the saying goes, is the ability to get together people to do things they don't want to do. Joseph Nye, now he has described the framework of power as a military power, as an economic power, which we call it as hard power, and the soft power, which is associated with the spiritual wisdom, about which we have a long discussion today. And if we integrate all of them together, we call it as the smart power. We all know how the military power dominated the strength of the nations in the last two world wars And as an economic power, how the United States has risen to be the leader of the various nations in the world, which Nizar Zuma has been enlightening us in his introductory remarks. Well, information technology revolution and cyber power are presently taking over from all other fields of power and greatly influencing our lives. I must, as a scientist, remind you the power of science, which has put the man on the moon, and also the power of medical science, which today can create a whole living being from a single cell by a process which is known as cloning. And I am sure the future of power of medical science can replicate every human organ, and which will be available for replacement of the diseased organs, and many more such developments in science which can help combat the disease and aging process which human beings are subjected to enhance their longevity and also for a better and healthier living. So we can never dispute the power of modern science, but we always say that the soft power is there to be an adjunct to the hard power, and we want to have a smart power which is a combination of both. Now India made tremendous progress in many fields like health, in science, in IT and economy, but we are also witnessing a loss of values and other ancient principles and rich heritage and culture for which we are all very well known. And this is leading to corruption and retarded growth. Now in such circumstances, now what is the answer? Now we require the power of spiritual wisdom, which has to be propagated and practiced in future. Now I want to enlighten the 5 faculties of spiritual wisdom, and they are the faith, the vigor, the mindfulness, the concentration, and lastly the wisdom. Now the faith is called the seed. We have to always have something to initiate the process, and without which nothing worthwhile can be done at all. It requires a combination of 4 factors. That is, we have to have an intellectual faith, a volitional faith, an emotional faith, and a social will. And it is these virtues that have to be cultivated. Now the vigor or the virya, it is the strength and the energetic force. If we want to achieve something, and without vigor, without strenuous effort, without perseverance, one cannot make much progress. When faith and vigor, when driven to excess, now they must be restrained by their counterparts, that is the wisdom and tranquil concentration. So mindfulness, or what we call as smriti, protects the mind from excitedness. Therefore, mindfulness is desirable everywhere, like salting on all sauces. Now, we have to have concentration, or what we call as samadhi, which deepens our capacity to regain the peaceful calm of our inner nature. It is a factor which is very essential to all our thought, and it is a rather rare virtue that we should all possess. That is the faculty of concentration. The wisdom, the last one is the wisdom, the 5 factors of spiritual freedom, wisdom. Now that is the prajna, This is the highest virtue of all. One has to have the concentration and one can know what is wisdom only we are concentrating, and wisdom is learnt from our traditions. It is a reflection of the basic facts of life, and it requires transic concentration, without which there cannot be a proficiency in the first two. There is a saying, I quote, "By faith the flood is crossed, by wakefulness the sea, by vigor ill is past, and by wisdom cleansed is he." So we are all cleansed by wisdom ultimately, and this is what the spiritual wisdom, that is what we should all possess, and we try to cultivate, we try to achieve, we try to practice, and we must become the professionals in the art of practicing spiritual wisdom. Because the spiritual progress depends on the emergence of these all cardinal virtues, and these 5 cardinal virtues, which are called the power or the bala, dominate the shape of everything what we do, what we feel, what we think, and the future. This is called what is called the soft power, which we have already said, and the success of future of all these powers lies in attainment of spiritual wisdom, which helps to channelize the positive energy for the creation and establishment of new ideas, fresh thinking, and efficient processes, which are very essential for peace and happiness of mankind. So I greatly appreciate, admire, and profusely compliment the endeavors of Brahma Kumaris for propagating and lighting the lamp of the spiritual wisdom in all of us to transform us to better human beings. And I thank once again for giving me this great opportunity to be with you all this evening and to share with you the ideas which are propagated in the subject of the future of power. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rao. How kind of you to come, and I'd like you to just stand here because I'd like to invite Sister Savita Didi up onto the stage, and I would like to ask her to give you the gift of thanks and appreciation. Thank you, Doctor. Thanks. Well, that's great. Now, somebody else wanted to be here tonight. Actually, this person was the very head of the Brahma Kumaris herself, the head of the institution, Dadi Janki. However, my country, England, is very lucky at the moment because she, unfortunately for us, is touring there. However, tonight she made a special video for you, and so I'd like you now, I invite you to sit back and just enjoy a short video from the head of the Brahma Kumaris, her message of the future of power for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Om Shanti. देखो हम फ्यूचर ऑफ पावर में पहुंच गई। हमारे निज़ार भाई का रूहानी स्नेह है, कभी भी मैंने पहले मिस नहीं किया। जहाँ जहाँ प्रोग्राम हुआ है, मीठे भाई के स्नेह में, मोरनी के भी स्नेह में हाजिर हो जाती, लेकिन ये भी ड्रामा अनुसार साधनों के द्वारा मिलना होता है, ये भी बड़ी अच्छी बात है। पावर। मैं हंसी में बताती हूँ, आप कहते हो फ्यूचर ऑफ पावर, मैं कहती हूँ पावर ऑफ फ्यूचर। क्योंकि फ्यूचर के लिए हमारे अंदर कितनी अभी पावर परमात्मा बाप के द्वारा ऐसी खींच रहे हैं जिसे फ्यूचर बड़ा अच्छा नजर आ रहा है। क्योंकि एक 3 बातों की पहचान मिली है। अभी आप लोग पता होगा हमारी प्लेटिनम जुबली मना रहे हैं 75 साल की। तो मैं थोड़ा अंदाजा लगाती हूँ 75 साल में क्या क्या परमात्मा द्वारा इस आत्मा ने पाया है। जो हम आत्मा ने पाया है, फिर औरों को ऑटोमेटिक जो मिल रहा है वो देने के लिए भाग्य विधाता परमात्मा भाग मिला है, जिससे टाइम अनुसार 5 बातों की पहचान दी है। एक स्वयं, मैं कौन हूं, समय, बाप, हर आत्माओं से संबंध और सेवा। समझ गए मेरी बात को? 5 बातें। स्वयं को पहले पहचानो, मैं कौन हूं, किसकी हूं, मैं क्या कर रही हूं। समय को पहचानो, ये समय है। वैल्यूज को जानना, अपने जीवन में वैल्यूज को लाना। जानना, कई वैल्यूज को जानते हैं, समझते भी हैं, इंसान में ये वैल्यू होनी चाहिए, लेकिन कर नहीं पाते हैं। अभी यहाँ इस वायुमंडल में आपको संगठन में वैल्यूज क्या है, उसमें हम 8 शक्तियां 12 वैल्यूज है। तो वैल्यूज की लिस्ट आपको बहन बताएगी। वहाँ 12 वैल्यू कौन सी है जो जीवन में हमारे गुण, वैल्यूज, वर्चूस, कुछ जब लाइफ में है तो वैल्यू हो जाती है लाइफ की। पर देखा जाता है सारे जो हमारे कोई और गुण है उसको निकालने की शक्ति चाहिए। उसकी शक्तियां धीरज है, सहन शक्ति है, समेटने की शक्ति है, समाने की शक्ति है, निर्णय करने की शक्ति है, परखने की शक्ति है, संयोग देने की शक्ति है। तो कुदरती शक्तियां से वैल्यूज मिलकर के जीवन को अच्छा, औरों को भी प्रैक्टिकली प्रूफ दिखाने के लिए लाइफ बन जाती है। अभी आजकल हमारे बुद्धि में ये है, तो जीवन की घड़ियां बहुत अमूल्य है। हम सारा दिन रात एक अंगुली से उसको ऊपर वाले को सदा सामने रखती हूँ, दूसरों टाइम को सामने रखती हूँ। टाइम कहता है मुझे सफल कर, वो कहता है मैं सिखाता हूँ, मुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बहुत अच्छा लगता है। वो कराने वाला है, समय कर रहा है, मैं उसका फायदा दे करके जी चाहता है। हर आत्मा अपने आप को देख पहचान परमात्मा से जो मिलता है वो जी भर के ले लेवे। परमात्मा क्या देता है? प्यूरिटी, पीस, लव, हैप्पीनेस, पावर। समझा? समझा ना? कौन देता है ये? कोई इंसान दे सकता? प्यूरिटी हो तो पीस आएंगी, पीस होगी तो लव होगा, लव होगा तो हैप्पीनेस आएंगी, हैप्पीनेस में पावर होंगी। ये इतनी 5 चीजें परमात्मा से ऐसे हमको मिले, बच्चा समझ के ले लो या अपने इतना लायक बना के खींच लो भगवान से। ये समय है, मैंने देखा है फ्यूचर ऑफ पावर में हर जगह जो प्रोग्राम हुआ है, सभी आत्माएं जो संगठन रूप में इकट्ठी होते हैं, जो आपस में लेन देन होती है, खुली दिल से बातें करते हैं। शाम का भी जो प्रोग्राम होता है, अनेक आत्माओं को इतने थोड़े घंटों के अंदर, थोड़े टाइम के अंदर जैसे कान खुल जाते हैं। जैसे सिंपल बातें हैं, बात बड़ी नहीं है, पर सिंपल बात को भी समझा न होने के कारण दुनिया में जो कुछ है, मैं क्या बोलूं, हर एक जानता है दुनिया में क्या है। उनसे दुनिया के उस बातों से एकदम न्यारा हो जाना, अपन को छुड़ा देना, पर अलग हो, छुड़ा करके कहीं जंगल में नहीं जाना है, परंतु अपन को गलत कामों से छुड़ाना है। जो एक्टिविटी जिसमें सत्यता और अहिंसा की कमी है, वो काम नहीं करने का है। महात्मा गांधी की इच्छा थी सत्यता और अहिंसा से। इतना महात्मा गांधी ने, कितना मैंने महात्मा गांधी के साथ प्ले किया है। बचपन में महात्मा गांधी के प्रार्थना सुनने के लिए सिंध में हैदराबाद से कराची जाती थी, परंतु फिर भी भारत क्या हो गया, अभी ठीक है जो हुआ, परमात्मा बाप अभी हमारे भारत तो क्या सारे विश्व को अच्छा, सच्चा, सच्चाई और अहिंसा से श्रेष्ठाचारी बना रहा है। तो आप सभी यहाँ आए हो, संगठन में आए हो, अच्छी तरह से हर एक को समाज सेवा का बहुत अंदर से दिल से है। तो जो हमको ऐसी चीज कुछ संसार में करने को मिले, जो संसार में जो मनुष्य आत्माएं दुखी, अशांत, चिंता में, अपने कईयों को देखो डिप्रेशन की बीमारी लगी हुई है, अभी इसलिए भगवान कहता है तुम मेरे को चिंतन में रखो, मेरे लिए मेरी बातों को मन में समाओ और जीवन में लाओ, तो आपकी जीवन से अनेक आत्माओं को जीवन अच्छी जीने की कला मिल जाएंगी। और सदाएं अपने आप को एक, मैं 3 बारी ओम शांति इसलिए कहती हूँ। पहला ओम शांति, आत्मा का स्वधर्म है शांत, ठीक है, स्वधर्म है शांत। तो दूसरा, परमात्मा मेरा पिता है ना, सर्वशक्तिवान, वो मेरा बाप, शक्ति आ जाती है। फिर संसार में रहते हुए न्यारा बनने की परमात्मा ऐसी शक्ति देता है जो सदा ही हर्षित रह सकते हैं। कब मुरझाने की बात नहीं, मूंझने की बात नहीं, सदा हर्षित रह करके औरों को भी खुशी, अंदर से भगवान से पाई हुई खुशी, शक्ति, शांति औरों को भी अपना अनुभव कराते चले, ये मेरी भावना है। ओके, ओम शांति।
So now, ladies and gentlemen, do you remember earlier this evening our sister Sujata told us all about how the legal profession is so full of tension? But I suspect that all of us here have at one time or another had a little bit of tension. Yes? Has anybody here been tense? Yes? I'm sure you have. And so what we would like to offer you now is the opportunity to experiment with the method for reducing tension by creating more attention on the self through meditation. And so we have invited from the Brahma Kumaris, Sister Bharti, a senior sister here in Vijayawada, to lead you in a short meditation so that you can have this very good experience. Normally, we lower the lights to help you to have this experience, but this particular hall will not let us do that unless we're in complete darkness, which wouldn't be so good. But this is good, because this method of meditation is not to be used when you can sit in a quiet place on your own. This method of meditation is to be used when you're out there in the rough, tough world that you have to deal with. And so now, in the brightness and just the beauty of this hall, I ask you to sit quietly and enjoy a very short and beautiful meditation given to you by the Brahma Kumaris with Sister Bharti. Thank you.
ఓం శాంతి. అందరూ నిటారుగా కూర్చోండి. మనస్సుని బాహ్య ప్రపంచానికి అతీతంగా ఒక ప్రశాంతమైన లోకానికి తీసుకెళ్దాము. ఈ పంచతత్వాలకు భౌతిక దేహానికి అతీతంగా ఒక సూక్ష్మమైన శక్తిగా స్వయాన్ని అనుభవం చేసుకుందాము. నేనొక చైతన్య శక్తిని, అతి సూక్ష్మాతి సూక్ష్మమైన జ్యోతిర్బిందు స్వరూపాన్ని, నేనొక ప్రకాశ స్వరూపాన్ని, నేనాత్మను, సర్వశక్తివంతుడైన పరమాత్మ సంతానమును. పరమాత్మ జ్యోతిర్బిందు స్వరూపుడు. ఆ జ్యోతిర్బిందు స్వరూపం నుండి అనేకమైన శక్తి కిరణాలు నాలో ప్రసరిస్తున్నాయి. అనంతమైన శక్తి నాలో ప్రసరిస్తున్నాయి. ఆ పరమాత్మ సన్నిధికి మనస్సును తీసుకెళ్ళండి. పరమాత్మ నుండి శాంతి లభిస్తున్నది.
Padmaja Didi, who is the head of the Brahma Kumaris here in Vijayawada city. She looks after the main center, and I'd like to invite her to now give the votes of thanks and make some short announcements.
Om Shanti. ప్రజాపిత బ్రహ్మకుమారి ఈశ్వర్య విశ్వవిద్యాలయం వారి ద్వారా ఏర్పాటు చేసినటువంటి అంతర్జాతీయ కార్యక్రమం ఫ్యూచర్ ఆఫ్ పవర్ కార్యక్రమానికి విశేషంగా తమ అమూల్యమైనటువంటి సమయాన్ని తీసి ఈరోజు ముఖ్య అతిథిగా గౌరవనీయులు శ్రీ ఐ వెంకటేశ్వరరావు గారు విచ్చేశారు. వారికి ఎంతో బిజీ షెడ్యూల్ ఉన్నప్పటికీ ఈరోజు తమతో తమ సమయాన్ని పంచుకొని
తమ యొక్క విలువైనటువంటి సందేశాన్ని మనందరికీ అందించినందుకు వారికి సంస్థ వైపు నుండి హృదయపూర్వకంగా ధన్యవాదాలను తెలియజేస్తున్నాము. మరి అంతేకాకుండా ఈరోజు సభలో టాక్ షో పార్టిసిపెంట్స్గా విచ్చేసినటువంటి ప్యానలిస్టులందరికీ, అదేవిధంగా విదేశాల నుండి వచ్చినటువంటి ప్యానలిస్టులకి, దాంతోపాటు ముఖ్యంగా ఈ యొక్క కార్యక్రమాన్ని హోస్ట్ చేస్తున్నటువంటి సోదరులు నిజార్ జుమా గారికి, సిస్టర్ మొరీన్ గారికి, యాంథనీ ఫిలిప్స్ గారికి, వీరందరికీ కూడా బ్రహ్మకుమారీస్ విజయవాడ శాఖ వైపు నుంచి హృదయపూర్వకంగా ధన్యవాదాలను తెలియజేస్తున్నాం. అంతేకాకుండా మీరందరూ కూడా మా యొక్క ఆహ్వానాన్ని మన్నించి విశేషంగా తమ అమూల్యమైనటువంటి సమయాన్ని మీకోసము మా కోసము వెచ్చించి ఎన్నో అమూల్యమైనటువంటి విషయాలను తెలుసుకొని తమ జీవితంలో కూడా ఆధ్యాత్మికతను పెంపొందించుకొనుటకు సంకల్పం తీసుకొనే ఉంటారని ఆశిస్తూ ఉన్నాను. ఈరోజు ఇలా ఈ విశేషమైన సభకు విచ్చేసినటువంటి మహానుభావులందరికీ, ప్రెస్ వారందరికీ నా యొక్క హృదయపూర్వకమైనటువంటి ధన్యవాదాలను తెలియచేసుకుంటూ మీ అందరికీ కూడా మరొకసారి కేవలం ఈ రోజుతో ఇది పూర్తయిపోయింది అని కాకుండా మా యొక్క సేవా కేంద్రాలకు కూడా విచ్చేసి తప్పనిసరిగా బ్రహ్మకుమారీస్ యొక్క శిక్షణలను కూడా తమ జీవితంలో ఆచరణలోకి తీసుకొస్తూ తమ యొక్క జీవితాన్ని కూడా మీ ప్రొఫెషన్తో పాటు స్పిరిచువాలిటీని కూడా ఇంక్లూడ్ చేసుకుంటూ తమ జీవితాన్ని కూడా ఆదర్శంగా తయారు చేసుకోవాలని ఆశిస్తూ ఉన్నాను. ఈ యొక్క సదవకాశాన్ని ఇచ్చినటువంటి వారందరికీ కూడా మరొకసారి హృదయపూర్వకమైన ధన్యవాదాలు. మీరందరూ కూడా రేపు ఎల్లుండి నుంచి జరిగేటటువంటి రాజయోగ శిక్షణ తరగతులకు ఆహ్వానింపబడుతున్నారు. స్థానికంగా మా యొక్క సేవా కేంద్రములు 1 టౌన్, సత్యనారాయణపురం, సీతారాంపురం, పటమట, భవానీపురంలో శాఖలు ఉన్నాయి. ఉచితంగా అక్కడ మీకు శిక్షణలు ఇవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది. 28వ తారీఖు నుంచి రాజయోగ శిక్షణ తరగతులు నిర్వహింపబడతాయి. అందరికీ మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలను తెలియజేస్తూ సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను. ఓం శాంతి.
Thank you so much for coming, and we wish you all God's blessings. Wa Vijayawada, future of power. Thank you.
Vijayawada.